nice. But yeah, so I sent over the combat and infiltration chapter. This most of it, maybe let's just have a little look over this, and you can kind of let me know what you think as well. So this works similarly anyway to normally 5e, how you'd expect it to run. There are a couple of exceptions. One of the big main parts of it is kind of the structure of combat, because what I wanted to get into it was one of those main spy kind of tropes. I love playing Metal Gear Solid games. Absolutely love it. Even if I think the meta plot has gone a little bit out there and I'm kind of over it. You know, I play them for the sneaking around. So I think a lot of the game is going to be almost about that kind of sneaking around. And you play 5e normally, and monsters have are considered to have like a 360-degree line of sight if its rules is written. And I've always found it difficult to manage stealth checks and figure out kind of who's doing what and whether you're in view of the monster you're sneaking
upon. Surprise rounds, every GM seems to kind of read that rule differently.
Yeah
how it works and what happens with it, and then obviously either you get it or you don't get it, and then that's over. There can be no more surprises in this encounter.
I know, it's so weird. I mean, you can hide again and then kind of gain an advantage on your attack. Or at least you can in this. This is what I'm basing my knowledge off. I don't play much fantasy 5e, so
you can usually, but by that point most rogues have gone, screw it, I'm in combat now.
Yeah, so, and you can get the sneak attack advantage from having another player in 5 feet melee with you.
Yeah.
But reading this, it's looking like you have the intent is to have a few rounds at the start of combat to set yourself up almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that XCOM 2 vibe where
that's what I was getting. Yeah.
Right, you're setting up that kind of ambush tactic. So if you guys have managed to, and what I would do normally is a group check for stealth maybe, or infiltration with that skill. And you'd work your way into the kind of the infiltration point of the mission. And at that point, in that typical Metal Gear Solid fashion, you might have guards patrolling, walking around, doing their normal business. And I wanted to represent that. I wanted to represent that on the table. So having guards walking around or having other people walking around without you guys being necessarily aware of you guys would be a big thing, I think. So I've split up this kind of idea of combat or action scenes. I'm still looking for something for it, like a term for it, but where basically we're going to split combat up into the infiltration phase and then the initiative phase. The initiative phase works exactly how you would expect it to work. It's people roll, they roll decks, you get your initiative, you work out your order, and then everyone takes their turn based on that. The infiltration phase is going to be a little bit different from that in terms of, I love that thing about XCOM where basically, so everyone's going to take a turn. So the three of you will get to act if we get around to it, because the first part of testing today, we're just going to we're going to start off light and we're going to do some basics, and I'm just going to kind of get a feel for the game and we're going to kind of settle in with it. But then hopefully there'll be a bit of combat, or I'll make a bit of combat because I want to test a little bit of that and see how this works out. Not that we're going to get into the minutiae of what we're going to try and break what different abilities can do and how much damage we can get out of a single turn and all that kind of stuff. But just today, I want it to be all about feel and how kind of thematic it is.
And what's interesting to me is how this ties into the philosophy that we were talking about last time of clean missions where you might get bonuses to your XP for getting in and getting out without being seen, or minimum casualties, only target casualties and that sort of thing. And this facilitates that play, and it's not like you're fighting the game to be able to do those things. The game's giving you tools to be able to do those plans.
And it theoretically, you depending on what the GM has set up, you could have those moments where you set out everybody into the position, and then thematically someone's like, okay, take the shots, and everybody does their thing at the same time. One person fires a sniper rifle, another person comes down from a duct and picks someone up, and everybody just does the thing.
Held action.
Yeah.
Scenario.
That going loud thing. I love that. I love that moment.
Yeah. When you're prepped and it all just either you do it all and nobody notices, or you do it all and that's it. Now you're going in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that I wanted to try and get that. I'd be really interested to see, as you were saying, Charlie, about those kind of clean missions where there was zero body count, all that kind of thing. where you play an entire, I mean, what we call combat for the sake of this, but you play it without actually having attacked anybody. It's all about moving around tactically and trying to get to your next position. But again, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm going to give it hopefully a toolkit approach, whereby if you did just want to do that theatre of the mind, or just, you know, in imagined way, then I think you could absolutely do that quite easily.
And I think the challenge with that sort of scenario as well is making it mechanically satisfying, because one of the most satisfying things about combat and 5e is you get to roll a handful of dice when you hit and do a ton of damage and look at your big numbers, and isn't that exciting? And I think a lot of people coming from 5e are going to be like, but I didn't roll for damage that entire time. But then if you're giving them lots of opportunities to roll different things, maybe that's going to fulfill that.
I think you're right, yeah, and I'm finding it conceptually tricky at the moment in terms of how much rolling there's going to be, because I found it very early on in alpha. It started to just become roll stealth again and again, and you don't want it to get as repetitive as that. So like there are some steps later on down in here where it's like remaining hidden, where a lot of it is down to like GM caveat, but you know, essentially, you know, if you're behind somebody and you're moving past them, so long as you're not dashing, they're not going to see you, they're not going to hear you. You guys are trained spies. So I didn't want it to be the kind of amateurish, like, you know, if there's a change in dynamic that you move on to from like solid ground to like sticks or gravel or something, that's a difference because you need to be careful. But
I was thinking is the challenge comes less, sorry, Sam, from, you know, being spotted, and it turns into environment problems of I didn't expect that truck to come through there then, or I didn't expect there to be a tree right here. Where did this tree come from? I'm got to climb it. Do I have to, you know, go around it? Rivers, lakes, bridges that have been blown up. Yeah,
exactly. So in terms of the basic kind of detection stuff, like you'll automatically be detected if you appear clearly in an enemy's line of sight without any intervening cover between you and the enemy. If part of your body is visible and some intervening cover along the enemy's line of sight, the GM can decide that you need to make a dexterity stealth check instead to remain hidden. And then if you fail that against their passive wisdom perception, or if they are actually looking for you and they do like a contested roll, then obviously you're going to be detected. But you know, I wanted to balance how you give, you know, how much kind of leeway there is a little bit to being like. So if you're ducking, because obviously movement in it mechanically doesn't really actually take precise account of how your profile is, like how low on the ground you are, all that kind of stuff. So if you're darting between two positions and you've got a little bit of cover between you, of course you're going to be like lowering your body, moving as fast as you can, that kind of thing. So that movement, if someone just catches you out the corner of the eye, I want those moments to be like, did they or didn't they get you, not just a kind of like Metal Gear Solid, like here they are, like off we go. You know,
alternative covert way of moving, if you just move as if you're meant to be there and you just blend in because there's no strange movement to you, you just walk. And the other thing of being spotted and then losing your tail or blending back in, so it doesn't go instantly from being spotted to encounter.
Yeah, and that might actually be a nice point where it bleeds more from stealth into infiltration, and actually that skill starts to become a bit more usable, where that's actually a bit more about blending in and like being like looking like you're meant to be there and that kind of thing, you know. So yeah, and then I was calling out, people do not have a 360-degree line of sight. They have a peripheral vision and they have their kind of forward facing. So facing is going to be a really important part of combat and mapped out encounters, I think, for the game, which is why I wanted to kind of call it out. But in the same way, I want it very much, and the writing of this, like its predecessor in SRD and stuff, to be very kind of rulings rather than rules. So it's like, well, look, you know, here are the kind of constraints and the circumstances of the scene. People aren't perfect 360 degrees seeing machines, so you know they're gonna make mistakes, or you're gonna have an opportunity to sneak up right behind someone and, you know, kind of do them in and stuff like that, or take them away from that. So in terms of structure, just going back a little bit, so in terms of the infiltration phase, you know, all the spies take a turn, and then the enemy NPCs all do their stuff. And usually either what we could do is, if we're publishing like a pre-written adventure, or if the GM's thinking about this in a particular way, they could make it so that they're actually moving on like a track. Like I think last time I said about how I loved the Assassin's Creed 1 thing of like having the map of showing you where people were going to be moving. So if you had like satellite imagery of the location or UAV or something, and you knew the patrol routes, you could kind of map them out and you could judge where people were going.
I mean, you were talking about Metal Gear Solid earlier. It's that first Metal Gear Solid game when you're not trying to kill anyone. You're just trying to get from the start position into a vent near the top of the map, and watching people and waiting for them to go back and forth and watching those people take those routes.
Yeah, it's judging the routes and judging the positions. There's going to be a fair amount of observation of watching people and where they move and where they talk and walk and stuff.
How you narrate that, I'm going to find very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's
Me
gonna
too.
put a lot of work on the GM to keep that feeling suspenseful and not just you wait and you watch and this is what you see, and make it more evocative and surrounding. I think for it to be as successful as it could be.
Yeah, I think that you're right. That's going to be a challenge. Go
on. No, sorry, that wasn't a breathe in to say something.
Okay.
So.
That's all right. So then you basically repeat those steps then, obviously, until until something happens. At which point, if someone's detected, then you don't roll initiative. So you do roll initiative. Sorry, at this point. Interesting. It's step 5. We're back in step 5. So if a player agent is detected by an enemy NPC, all player agents left to act take their turn before moving on to roll initiative. So again, it's that XCOM 2 mentality of even though one person has maybe messed up, they've gone round a corner, they haven't seen somebody they weren't expecting, and they get clear line of sight on them, and they're like, "Yo, you're a baddie." That's how it's going to be narrated.
What are you talking about? We're definitely the good guys.
That's the face though, surely, just nonchalantly walking past. But so everyone else gets a chance to act within that, and I think even if that's even before the surprise round, that's even before shooting and doing all that kind of stuff. So you get a chance to be in a good position. You still get the option, essentially, I think, in that point to choose whether you want to break cover or not. Like if you're hidden or you're in cover and stuff, and you just want to gain a kind of more of an advantage, and you're obviously not surprised in say a surprise round, then obviously don't dash, don't go into a line of sight, that kind of thing, and then you'll still have your advantage on your attack roll, and you'll be able to act in the surprise round, as opposed to stepping out right into the middle of it, and then you're obviously been detected, but you can act in the surprise round too. It's that kind of thing. So having a bit of player choice there, I think, is really important too.
I really like that everyone kind of gets to do stuff, even if it does get to the point of like rolling initiative, because I think so often it's that thing of like somebody will make that slip up or do that thing that then starts combat, and everyone else is like, oh, I just wanted to do a thing really quickly, but
the sad thing
never get round to it.
Is it's just down to usually bad luck on a die, and you're like, you spent 45 minutes between you planning how you're going to do this, and then the paladin in their great big clunky armor breezes through, gets to position, and then the rogue, for the first time in their life, nat one's their stealth roll, and everything just falls apart, and you scramble, and no one's in a good position because they haven't had their turns yet because of initiative order. And yeah, I think that's super cool.
Yeah, and then initiative is normal. And then characters get to take their turns. Obviously, if there are any people who are just unaware of what's going on, so say there are a couple of guards who haven't noticed anybody, obviously this guy who's maybe seen one of you has raised the alarm, but that's in that very second. So you guys being able to get into position, obviously there's a bit of timey-wimey that always goes on with tabletop games, I think, but essentially that is a surprise round. Equally, if you guys were to be like, do you know what, actually, this turn, we are going loud. And so you basically make that final round where you guys are all the last people to act. The NPCs are due to act, is that you get that surprise round straight away. As soon as somebody's taken a shot, done something, then you do that. So that hopefully should work, kind of filter in surprise round quite easily. And then there's also obviously stuff on being hidden and that.
Your friendly representative in the chat has just pointed out that the system also allows it the other way around. So if we're protecting something, and you'll have NPCs who do that kind of thing, infiltrate us, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So that could all still happen. So yeah, so it going to be very interesting to see a GM who can like secretly map out. I mean, this is what the GM layer is for on Roll20, right? They like, so you can secretly move your stuff around and then get people into position that way. And yeah, so provide if they fail a stealth roll and against someone's passive perception, then you're like, wait, what? Who the fuck's that? And then that surprise round starts. So that will be cool. So in your turn, it's all usual stuff: a move, an action, a bonus action, a reaction. Break up your move as usual. Difficult terrain is all normal as well. We have a bigger size table because we have bigger size things, like an aircraft carrier. But
so what is larger, adult dragon or a Nimitz aircraft carrier?
Aircraft carrier, right?
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Ancient Dragon's gargantuan, isn't it? I think.
Okay. Oh God, I'm worried now.
That's all right. The idea, though, as well, is that when you get up to those top levels, as a team, you could try and take on an aircraft carrier if you wanted to really take it that far in the campaign. V and I spend a lot of time talking on the train to and from work about how like a lot of games, they don't get past much like level 6, level 7.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of cool spy game out of that, obviously, and you want to front load some of your class abilities that way. But when you get right up there, you want to be running around a shoreline trying to blow up a Nimitz aircraft carrier.
I want to crit an aircraft carrier. That's my play goals.
Oh, double damage on that.
I want that when you do the Kickstarter, you should do a t-shirt that says I want to crit an aircraft.
I'm writing that down, thanks Oz. Sorry. No royalties.
Just a guy next to it with like a truncheon being like Kung.
That's amazing.
Well, they don't have high decks, right?
Oh, this is true. It'd be easy to hit them.
This is more the object rules where AC represents how tough they are rather than how easy it is to actually hit them. Like, you hit them.
Do they come with the aircraft? Because those things are Dexy.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm hearing is that we need to steal an aircraft carrier.
That's what I'm hearing too.
That's what I'm hearing.
Can you fill all 100 crew positions? I'm not sure.
Sam, I don't know what mission you had planned today, but we've got one.
Okay, cool.
It's going to steal any large vehicle that Sam puts in our way.
I hate to break it to you, I don't think we're quite there, guys. I don't think we're quite there yet. Let's level up first. Cool. So there are a few other actions I just want to tag for you guys in combat that I have added or have changed slightly. Control vehicle is an action rather than move. So you're sat in a vehicle and you're driving it, or you're doing that. So you move the vehicle's speed. You can designate a target, which is basically, say, because we do have stuff like close air support and calling in stuff like that. So if you've got the equipment, like if you've got like a laser designator or something, and you're actually using that, it is an action because it takes some concentration, but it's not explicitly an attack, even though you're going to roll an attack and you're going to roll some damage because it's something else that's doing it. Say the aircraft is doing a strafing run or something. That's the idea there. Dodge hide is all normal as well. We do have a second wind action. So as I said before, where we were finding people to be a bit squishy. So as an action in combat, you can spend a hit die.
Like everybody can?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of taken from the class feature that the soldier had and adapted. So it's only one hit die per action though. You don't get to just like rack them up. And you do add your con modifier, but they do count towards how many you've spent over the course of the mission. So if you really
super interesting because that balances how deadly a gun is.
In
a way.
Yeah, I think we needed it.
You have a combat that lasts more than 2 seconds.
Yeah. Something I called out in the writing of the adaptation of the hit points copy as well is that I was like, hit points aren't physical toughness. That's part of it, but it's all about kind of mental discipline and how heroic you are, how able you are to shrug off like blows and damage. So it's not necessarily like you grow bigger as you get more hit points. And it's like I kind of feel that sometimes that's the kind of lazy idea that you can get in your head. It's certainly something that I've kind of found myself thinking.
The Captain America effect.
Yeah, it's not literally grow bigger, but you just I've got more hit points now, I'm tougher, and it's like kind of. But there's been a lot of chat, obviously, in kind of tabletop circles about that recently. One thing I did miss off is reloading. I wanted to make reloading a thing. So reloading is an action. One of the cool things about the soldier, I think, is that a couple of levels on, you get a class feature that lets you reload during your movement action, or as a bonus action. I think
perfect.
it's one of those. So it is that kind of quick load. Like I'm good at this. I can like strip a gun in 3 seconds, kind of jobby. You know, it's like I can do this. So it's that kind of thing. But I wanted to make it something so that you're again a little bit of that XCOM thing of you're balancing out how many attacks you've done. So therefore, how much ammo you've used up versus when you want to reload. So it's when do you get close? When do you reload? It might be that you fire off a couple of shots and you've got an ammo capacity of 4 attacks, and instead you go, well, do you know what? I'm gonna reload now. So I'm gonna have like half a clip later, and I'm gonna reload now so that I can keep going.
I'm guessing we're not tracking clips or anything like that. There's no mundanity, or are we?
Oh, you've got me there because I mean, I think it should be. I think it should definitely be options, but I think my design now, my thinking is that you have essentially like reloads, so you do have clips.
Okay.
I think it would depend on the kind of game you're playing. If you're playing a really like heroic kind of like grungy pulpy game, you're just going to want to spray and pray. So you just reloading is part of the balance of play, as opposed to kind of counting up how much stuff you've got. I personally like to lean. If it's one of my personal games, I like to lean more towards counting stuff a bit because it gives you an idea of like, well, let's not just spunk all our ammo now. But then again, I think I've given it a bit of balance whereby actually, if you see in the equipment chapter as well, but part of this and in combat as well is that we're not counting bullets. I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. So we're not counting bullets, but we're counting a number of attacks. So the idea is that like a submachine gun or like a battle rifle will spunk out more bullets than maybe a pistol will, but the pistol has a smaller magazine count and stuff like that. So that's the idea behind not only the balancing of the damage dice, but also the kind of how many turns you've got until you need to reload.
Thank you. Now we're just quickly, because we're talking about this kind of thing. We picked some equipment last time, and I'm also seeing that we have an equipment starter list here for us in the drive.
Oh my god, did James dump that on you guys? I have not actually seen this yet. So I asked him to put together a little kind of starter kit stuff.
I do like that we all have tuxedos or dresses. This is feeling good.
Yeah. So part of the game that we're not going to quite be testing yet is some of the requisition rules. I mean, I think you guys will have seen a little bit of that from the equipment chapter, where essentially you get gadgets and gadget slots. But there is also a way, again, I wanted quite a toolkit approach whereby you also have the ability to pick stuff based on an actual budget. So we're also going to give like dollar values to stuff to hire things or to buy things if it's expendable. So if you wanted to go into quite a bit of planning detail as a group, and if you enjoy that kind of thing, I sometimes do, that gearing up for a mission, you're like, okay, we're going to spend $50 on this, $100 on this, 500, to 10K to millions, like, and this.
Rent that $10 billion plane, please, Sam.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got to do a lot of Googling soon and figure that out.
Let's tell you, Sam, all of our characters are rich, so we can totally afford it.
Well, so part of the game I also want to kind of build upon in terms of like campaign play is how much money the agency has. And if you're a mercenary kind of organization, how much profit you then want to make as well.
So as a soldier, when I get higher in level, is it still a bonus action to reload the aircraft carrier?
Yeah. With planes. You just handing planes onto the deck.
They just spawn like a sort of gay hack. They just drop from the sky.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Any other bits and bobs? I'm going to try and get into the adventure. We've been chatting for a while. It's good, but I'm going to need to try and read a little bit of what we've done here.
Are we taking these equipment packs, or are we taking stuff we had to start with?
Mine's pretty similar.
Yeah, I think maybe James has maybe added onto it. James, are you in chat? Black Cat's Gaming Tabletop. is it for the players? Is it just their stuff that you've given in those packs, or is it in addition to the stuff they got at character creation? That's a yep.
So one of those two things you said.
Yeah. The first one, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think so. But that's okay, because this is pretty much what I had, plus a couple of additional little things. So.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right, sweet. So use what you've got there for your equipment packs. Let me have a look at them because I think they include probably a couple of gadgets too. So a compact disguise kit would be a gadget. I'm just looking through to check whether any of these actually do like a gadgety thing we need to actually check the rules for, because I can then check them at my end. Everything looks normally equipment wise. You've got your cover identity, obviously. Charlie, a covert earbud it's an unseen earpiece that just lets you chat.
Classic Avengers style. They just hold their finger to their ear, even if there's nothing there.
Yeah. Infiltrator. You've got your Garrote string, obviously. A keycard cloner. Yeah, that lets you. So that lets you kind of tap into So I'm watching some genuine like lockpicky style stuff recently. So you can. There are these manufactured. Keypad box set things or keycard things that basically you can set something up inside, and so long as it swipes the keycard, it will clone it, and then you get the information off that thing, so long as you're within a certain range. Like, it's a bit of a Wi-Fi thing. So you've got that, V.
It's going to be fun with my -1 intelligence.
Let's check. Yeah. Smartphone with COM cable attachment for sabotaging hacking into secure lines. Okay. He's got a little bit off book there, but I'm happy with that. Outside the kit pack: assault rifle, shotgun, rocket launcher, of course. All right, cool.
I'm good with those things.
Cool.
Heavy pistol and taser.
Nice.
So some of this stuff is outside in a kit bag. So I'm guessing that when you narrate to us what's happening, we're somewhere, and our stuff is somewhere else.
Yeah, it sounds like we're in the middle or something.
In
you might need to do a DoorDash to go and grab your shit if it gets real bad.
Okay. So this is called the exchange. Your objective is to find the target and get the drive. The target is collecting the drive from Dr. David Andrew, a seismographer with the Earthquake Research Institute at the University of Tokyo. Andrew is not flagged as a threat, and he is a I would say French man, black skin, shaved head, glasses, medium build, and about 6'1", quite tall. The target, however, which code name is Jijin, which is Jijin, is a threat and has been eluding the web agency for the past 3 years. The fact that Jijin wants the information has surfaced here in Tokyo at this time. To get it means the information is important enough to merit an operation. It also means the information is potentially dangerous. Your mission is to correctly identify the target, that's Jijin, and either eliminate them if they have secured the drive, or if not, to follow the target to where they're going and recon where they end up. Very little is known about Jijin, not their gender, race, or appearance, but their code name is All You Have. That information, and that they will be at a casino that they've been frequenting for the last 2 nights before the drop-off.
Classic Bond.
They're masquerading as a patron and have spread enough money around to ensure their anonymity to a certain level. We do not want any trouble in Tokyo, so violence inside the casino itself is not sanctioned and is a last resort. Outside the casino building or on the road is allowed if absolutely necessary, but it will be frowned upon, and we will not lend aid if alarms are raised or the police are called. You will be disavowed. This is about infiltration and espionage, not run-and-gun battles in the streets. Okay.
Puts away copy of Rush Hour 2.
Sure. I didn't write it, so I can... Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm just saying that would definitely how it would descend into some chaos.
Yeah, totally.
I'm getting some reasonably significant Star Trek Deep Space Nine hits from the seismologist, because well, there's an episode with an earthquake situation involving a character from that in this. I don't know if it's on purpose, but there's like Bond overlaps.
I'm gonna call this episode "No Trouble in Little Tokyo."
I like
it. That's going on YouTube. Good stuff. Cool. All right.
Sorry, what was the name of our contact? Dr. David Andrew was the contact.
Yeah. So Andreu, Andreou, is the person,
the French guy,
who the target is collecting the drive from.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. You guys are all alone in Tokyo, having been put up in a hotel probably by the agency nearby the casino.
Will we be able to have access to the floor plans of the casino?
Yes. Give me a minute while I... I just want to check if any information is on here that it shouldn't be. Oh my days, I don't even know what to... Oh, okay, I get it. All right. So there is 2. I just need to download these.
Oh, is there a player-facing version?
Yeah. All right, here's where I go to Roll20. And I try and dump this in. Uploading!
Ooh.
Boom. How big are the squares? Not big enough. Let's just use that as is, I think. If we need to do a bit of combat, if we get to that, because I want to try and test some of it. That's good. There we go. That's all of it there. All right. So you've got an upper bar, a balcony with a bar there on the left-hand side. Then you go down some steps, I would imagine, into mezzanine. Okay. Cool. So underneath there is the casino floor. Oh man, there's even a casino layout, like, floor bit. Is there any... Okay, no. James has been a busy man. I'm going to add another page here.
Okay.
I will get you guys in it just momentarily.
How do we enter this area via the stairs? Theoretically, if we were to enter here.
Yeah, I would think so. Let's...
Those long rectangles are doors, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh, the stairs are in the right-hand side. So you've got like a circular staircase, cylindrical staircase on both of those sides. That leads you back down to the other floor, which I'll just dump you guys onto now in terms of the map.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the stairs going up and down.
All right. That is what you've got there. And then there is a third page, which I might just quickly dump on you guys now again too.
Are we able to jump between pages, or is it just you that can do that?
It is just me, unfortunately, I think. What I'll do then, actually for ease, is I'll also do a map page, which just lets you look at all 3 as kind of a layout thing. That's what I should have done from the start, I think. Never mind. Oop. I'm going to shrink these down a bit for you guys.
Virginia and Charlie, have we been on a mission together? Or is this our first mission as a group?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I imagine that maybe we have worked together, because didn't Sam say last time we were like kind of almost mercenary like?
Yeah, we are the Bravo team. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So we have.
And it maybe if you did want some sort of distance of, oh, I haven't seen you since Rio kind of thing, maybe, you know, Bravo team got split up to go do different jobs with other people depending on what was necessary.
Yeah, or we've all got like side gigs, and we come together to do Bravo team stuff sometimes.
I like it.
Call in the Bravo team. So the way I see it is we have kind of 3 options on the whole thumb drive grab thing. Because we can get it from at the drop, if we can see when it's being dropped.
Yeah.
Get it after it's been dropped, but still in the casino. Or we could get it after he leaves the casino. But we don't know if the exchange has already happened.
Yeah, mate. And if this David guy's picking up this drive, then there's every chance that he might be giving it to a third party as well. Like, we don't know if he's going to be getting it from this Zhijin, and like we will have no idea if Zhijin is anybody in particular when they pass it along.
So yeah, it's Zhijin. We don't have an ID on. We've got an ID on David, but it's David who's going to be passing off to Zhijin in terms of the drive.
David should be an easy spot because we've got a good description.
Yeah.
And he's tall.
Cool.
6'1".
You can find out facts about Zhijin in multiple ways. It will allow you to identify the target.
This is true. We have the internet, surely.
Yeah. Big thing about, and this is going to be something to balance with the game as well, I think, generally speaking, is how to balance all that kind of stuff. So in terms of just in terms of like, we're kind of, it would help if I could think of a kind of good story reason. But so Intel says you guys have about 30 minutes to figure this out in terms of just getting some information. Yeah, Intel says that Zhijin will leave with the drive in about 30 minutes.
Okay, so
maybe they intercepted a call. Because you can't get a description from a call.
What equipment and where would you like to smuggle into the casino, guys? You can have your kind of small weapons on you, obviously. Any kind of pistol size that you can stow away. There's a good amount of backspace in kind of the bottom of the spine, kind of area on your back. So the lower of your back. Or anything large you need to carry, like a briefcase or attaché case, anything like that.
Because it's just a thumb drive. If we could do a thumb swap, so they don't even know that we've nicked it back.
But we'd need to know what the thumb drive looks like. Otherwise, we give him a Sony one and he's got a Toshiba one.
That's the difficulty.
As long as the weight's about the same when he pats his pocket and doesn't look too closely, we'll be fine.
Wait, where did this Hello Kitty thumb drive come from?
Yes.
Oh, I want a Hello Kitty thumb drive.
So I'm seeing on these plans that there is a night vault.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he's paying almost anonymity money, is he also paying to hold items? Because I'm pretty sure some casinos will hold things for you in terms of like your winnings and so is there a chance that actually this isn't going to be on this person, he's going to have it locked away until he goes to leave?
This is the other problem, is because it's a thumb drive, that's something small. You can do a handoff anywhere. You don't need a private room.
You could even have it among the person's winnings if you've got enough people paid behind the scenes.
You just tape it to a chip and hand the chip over. Because you only need that tiny bit. You don't need the whole...
Are you saying that we need to steal all the money in the casino?
I think that's what I'm saying. I think this is what I'm saying.
I just figured out how we fund the aircraft carrier.
I imagine Grace turns her laptop round and it's like a giant conspiracy board of us to aircraft carrier, and stealing all the money in Tokyo is in the middle.
So this looks like they've got a private room for craps. Like they've got a private craps room in the back. Oh no, is that a lorry in the back? Because it is the same color as the craps tables.
I think that's a loading bay.
That's an escape car for Jijin. So we know where he's going to be at the end.
Near the exit.
But that's after he's already sent across the item. Like that, if he's escaping, he obviously won't have the.
So I think the optimum point, because we have so many unknowns, is we're gonna have to shadow David, and we're just gonna have to figure out when the drop is happening and move quick. Unless we can find out who you pay in this casino anonymity money to, and we outbid. And get
Do we have the money to outbid?
We're talking supervillain levels of treachery here. I expect they're well funded.
They're not going to drop $1 million for some, because that's going to draw too much attention. Like, well, why the hell is this guy dropping $1 million for cover? You're just handing a little bit of money of, don't mention I was in here, my wife's, stalking me.
Well, we don't know who Jijin is. It could be like Jeff fucking Bezos, and he's got like all the money in the world, and it's just normal that he shuffles around this amount of money. But yeah, you've got a good point.
We now know that someone could be bought. And I don't think they're going to be dropping huge amounts of money. Just enough that it's like, all right, you're a big spender. Go have fun.
Okay.
At which point, the casino staff are probably watching this person. Because everyone talks. Even if they're... everyone will be watching the important people.
So you're thinking that we should have someone talk to some of the... like the cleaning people or or something like that, to just get some intel on strange goings on.
Find out who you've been told to either stay away from or look after real well. If you can get that list, that's a list.
That sounds like a job for one of you two.
I don't know. I think you'd make a fine waitress, Armstrong.
I don't think I'd look too good. Look, I'm good with my hands, but it's the apron doesn't suit me.
I could try, but I think that Grace is probably better suited to getting people to talk.
And conveniently, I did bring a little disguise kit.
Well, there you go. If you need to go in afterwards, then you're not going to need to worry about, looking like one person then another. You got this?
I quickly go into Google and I look up this casino and I look at their promotional pictures to see what their waitresses are wearing, and hoping it's something generic that's going to be easy to rip off, because otherwise I've got to go and find where they keep uniforms.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, I've given it a read. I think I'm good. I think I can run it, even if it's not quite as written.
And we don't have long, so I need to go and do this quick.
Well, are we all going in? Because if we've got tuxes and dresses and stuff, so we could kind of hang around at Case the Joint while you're chatting and seeing if...
Actually, yeah. So do we have enough spending money to just be patrons at this casino? What kind of casino is it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just not cool.
Line of credit. Otherwise,
otherwise it's just not cool.
Because it's more fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to have a wander around and see if there's any particularly flashy spenders or somebody who looks well off but isn't spending a lot.
If I'm busy asking questions, I can't have eyes on David.
Okay, cool. Virginia, you absolutely make someone who is spending quite a lot of money. It's American white guy, oil tycoon style, like, the cowboy hat, the boots. He is the walking stereotype of the
mattress king.
Yeah, the mattress king, Ford's Mattress Inc. You've all seen the adverts. Mustang mattresses. Yes. He's got he's got that on the back of his bowling shirt, like his cowboy shirt, like stitched in. And he's throwing down loads of money.
Does he appear to be paying full attention to what is he actually playing?
So he's playing roulette down in with like the middle table. Let me get off the thingy layer.
Does it appear that he's kind of paying a lot of attention to the game, or is he kind of doing that thing of I've got enough money, I don't need to look because it doesn't matter if I lose?
Oh no, he loves a gamble. He's going for it. This is his gig.
But he's not kind of distracted by anything else. He's paying full attention to the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie, you wanted to get eyes on David, right?
Yeah, that would be the first thing, and I guess I need to kind of make an infiltration or something to try and turn into a waitress.
Yeah. So make me that check. This will therefore be the passive difficulty class for people who are actively trying to look out for you.
So is that infiltration?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have +1 to that. I'm super good at that. Okay.
This is not only you disguising yourself as that, but this is actually you having made your way into the kitchen, taken some plates, actually like
what I was thinking, okay, so let me pitch this, is what I was thinking was she doesn't actually bother going behind the scenes at all. She just grabs one of the abandoned trays and just starts walking around.
Yes.
The less she has contact with other staff at this point, the less likely a manager is going to go, wait, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. That's cool.
And yeah, until she needs to go somewhere that's staff only, she's not going to. I'm wondering... so I would like to kind of turn this into a theme.
Yeah. This is absolutely it.
So her theme is basically she'll go and collect empties and go take those up to the bar, deliver orders, and bring the orders back. Because that's nice and simple. No one really cares who's making the orders and dropping drinks off.
Cool. So you can make an infiltration check, and you can add your perception proficiency if you have any. That would be on top of your that's as a modifier. So that would, I think, be on top of.
I have no skill in perception.
Oh.
Wait, that doesn't sound right. I should have a 1 in it, but I'm not proficient.
Okay, so you don't get that. You don't add your proficiency bonus as a modifier.
I don't even remember perception being an option on my sheets, but that's okay. So I just basically
I'll check that out.
I think that might be one of the ones that was not included to start with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember seeing it like as a skill option, but I may have just looked past it.
That was no. Let me have a look. Oh, it is on there. Okay.
It is on there.
Cool. Don't have to check that then. That's cool.
All right. If I can, then just for future, just so we can actually test it as a skill, is if I made my proficiency in stealth and I'll stick that in perception.
Sure.
That's fine.
Yeah. So it's all about that. So yeah, right. The idea here is that you make your infiltration check as normal with your proficiency bonus, and with infiltration if you've got that, and any ability modifier that would apply, and you add your perception proficiency as a bonus.
So that'd just be an additional +2 to that then.
Cool.
Unless it's is it the whole perception modifier, or is it just proficiency bonus?
Perception proficiency, so just the proficiency bonus.
Okay, so still, yeah. So yeah, just +2, so I've been 18 total.
Nice. Okay. So that is that kind of passive check, passive difficulty for other people who are trying to suggest you. You're doing a really good job of. It's one of those, like, I can imagine the shot where basically, you know how you can almost see it in the Bourne Identity where he runs after that car that goes. It's that trick shot that they do in films whereby they just disappear. But they're actually like running with the car or whatever it is that's passing the screen. So there's like essentially there's a little crowd of people, tourists that are coming by, and as they go past, you basically blend in with them. But what you've done is picked up a tray, and now you're just walking around blending in. doing a really good job of that. Okay, you immediately get eyes on Andrew as you get to the ground floor bar. So if I go back onto Roll20 for people, that is so the middle map, and there's that ground floor bar in the kind of bottom left-hand corner. So he's sat there, he's drinking. It looks clear, icy. It's got a slice of lime in it, and he's drinking away.
So what I would like to do is, I imagine Grace opens the comms that we've got, pushes the little button, whatever it is, to trigger, on microphone, and Armstrong and Nyx kind of hear this weird drinks order being passed over, and Grace says something along the lines of, "This bar is so small compared to the rest of the casino, just a door in and out." Just like some sort of random waitressy complaint about this place, so they know where she is and kind of what's going on there.
Yeah, and if you look at the map there, what you've got to the kind of north side, as you look across the bar, you've got the foyer and the cloakroom beyond, and then where you've just come from would have been the corridor down to the bottom right, just below that. Yeah.
While this is happening, what I've probably done is I will be on the mezzanine, looking out over the floor. I can see myself like standing near where the viewpoint bit is on the map there.
Yeah.
Kind of leaning over the balcony, watching over the casino floor. What I'm going to be trying to do, because Virginia is actively looking for Jijin or just about anyone here really. I want to make sure that nobody is trying to look for either us or it kind of like keeping my eye out for threats, seeing if I can get a clone on someone else who might be hiding a weapon or hiding something on their person.
Okay. There's a big crowd, so this is going to be quite tough. I think DC 20 to really get a good impression of something like that. For free, the security around the casino, then they're not, their presence is not explicit. They're not, kind of on it at every table, this, that, and the other, but they are kind of just, it's exactly what you'd expect. It's the suited and booted people who are, who you can see they've got a bit of under uniform armor on, like you can tell they're kind of got those undercover vests on. And they are kind of hanging around there at the kind of stairs in the foyer and stuff.
In that case, if I can be a bit more specific, I would like to look out for a high roller of some kind, or a single person who has next to them someone not getting involved, someone who appears to be a bodyguard.
Cool. Okay, make a DC 10 check for me then.
Is this insight or?
This is perception.
Okay. Did that come through?
Yes, 12.
12.
That was the one, yeah? Cool, all right. So looking down at the floor, you actually don't see here even that high-rolly cowboy, what was it, mattresses guy?
Yeah, Mattress King. Oh, Mustang mattresses.
Mustang mattresses. You, apart from that high roller, who doesn't have an entourage at all, any bodyguards or anything like that, no one downstairs has that kind of thing. It's quite a touristy night. It's a weekend. People are dropping by from, because you're kind of I imagine kind of inner city Tokyo. So notably, no, there isn't anyone like that.
So I'll kind of lean over the balcony and taking Grace's lead, I'll be like, the place seems to be relatively empty almost today. Just as saying it, nobody in particular.
That's cool. That's really cool. V, what are you wanting to do with Mattress King, man?
Okay, so as he's kind of throwing chips out and probably getting excited over this game of roulette. I'm going to, start bidding where I can and act as if I'm kind of playing the game. And I want to see if he appears to have any kind of like a bag with him, or like a belt pouch, anything like that. And if not, like how when you put something in like a trouser pocket, you can see the shape of it in the pocket. If I can see anything like that as he's playing, because I can kind of make the excuse of kind of moving around the table to see where I want to place stuff, and using that, being able to kind of go around and kind of chat to people the way that you do at casino tables to check him out and see if it looks like he's carrying anything.
Yeah. Having never been a high roller in a casino, I'm really having to think about how he would carry his money. Back pocket seems really dumb. But for some reason I've got in my head the guy in like Levi's and this like cowboy shirt. So he's not really got like much, like any kind of big place to put it. They give you trays for chips, don't they? If you like cash out a lot of stuff. So
and usually you have a handler who handles it for you.
Right. I'm gonna say he notably doesn't. Like he's got this tray of chips in front of him. It's on the table, and it's clear to people playing that they're not part of the game at this point. And he's putting stacks on the table as he plays, because it's these are the roulette tables. Yeah, so he's putting stuff on the table from his tray when he wants to place bets, as you do with blackjack. You quickly survey him. I think you note that he's got he's gonna have like a smartphone in his front pocket of his jeans. Nothing in his back pockets. In one of the on one of the breast pockets on his shirt though is probably quite a thin wallet, in terms of one of those card and money clips rather than a full wallet. So he's got probably a couple of, and then this is something that you will notice, because normally maybe it's so thin people probably wouldn't, but it's the kind of the shape of it and how it sits on his person that you notice this clip of essentially what's probably going to be money and maybe a credit card, and he's probably therefore left everything else in a hotel nearby, and he's come here specifically to gamble with that money.
Okay. I feel like he's almost a bit too interested in the game to be our guy. I'm going to try and make my way to the bar towards Grace. I'm not going to acknowledge her when I get there. But so the thing that I have for swiping for card swipes.
Yeah.
How big is that? Can I get it into like a card reader that you get for like credit cards?
Yeah, essentially one part of it is like a little chip that you bypass part of the circuitry of the chip, the card reader, and then you have a receiver that, for gadget's sake, I'm going to say is built into your smartphone.
Okay.
And that lets you clone cards. The final part of that, therefore, is that actually what it will also do in terms of cloning is with your phone, it will let you, this is such a London-centric thing. With like the Oyster cards and stuff, or chip the card readers that you just tap your card on, whatever those frequencies are, the chips in there. You can do that with your phone based off of that.
Will I get like the card details in terms of the name,
yes,
like the card owner?
Yeah.
And will I be able to see like history in terms of purchases?
That would be like a hack. That would be like a bit of actual kind of hacking that I think we do. But yeah, you could get that basically kind of through channels through the banking system, like mobile banking, that kind of thing.
I'm going to walk... Okay, in that case, I'm going to go into the bar, and when I spot Grace, so I'm guessing you're clearing some tables or something, I'm going to kind of flag you as if I would a waitress, and say that I'd like a drink. Can you bring the card reader over to the table and just take a seat somewhere casually in the corner and just wait?
Can you do that awful click?
Yeah, because I'm going to pretend that I've got a bit of money, probably. So I'm assuming that all of, like, both me and Armstrong are having to pretend like we belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my probably like a South London accent or something going on, but trying to put some, like, I'm near the baccarat tables. I'm looking over at baccarat, trying to work out how to play baccarat
Play baccarat, yeah. Mood.
Because like Oz doesn't have a clue.
So I imagine Grace for her part grabs that circle tray she's been using. She throws a napkin on it, picks up a drink, and leads over the bar and grabs the card reader.
Make me an infiltration check. DC is going to be... Let's figure out some passive perception here. It's going to be difficulty 10.
Do I get my theme bonus?
Yeah, go on.
22.
22? I'm on the wrong little bit. Oh, man. Not a nat 20, though. Okay, so you...
Nice.
Yeah, very close. You time it perfectly right. The bartender is at the other end, and you just swipe the card machine straight off the whatever it's called, the bank thing that it charges on, and take this whatever Nick's drinks over to her at the table.
I imagine what's basically been made is like a soda water with a cherry in it, so it looks like it could be anything.
Yeah.
Comes over.
Yeah.
No lime, and Grace delivers the drink.
The
card reader.
Yeah, I'll take the card reader and I'll insert probably, like, I imagine that she would have some kind of dud card that's just used for like show, just puts it in, and as I do, I want to try and like affix this device to wherever it needs to go on the card reader. Like in that moment, just as I'm doing stuff and chatting to the waitress, and I'll put on a little bit of an air of kind of being a bit shitty about my drink or something, so it's like a reason for her to still stand there and block my view, like of anyone else to me.
Grace kind of helps with making a show of like tidying up around and waiting and like asking about Nix's visit. Is she enjoying Tokyo? Is there anything else I can get you? How's your luck been tonight? Number 8.
Yeah, I'll play along with all of that as I try and do this while fiddling around. I don't know what I have to roll to do that, Sam.
Roll me deception. I think that's the thing, isn't it?
Oh, thank God I can do that. I think.
This is you setting a difficulty for anyone trying to figure you out.
So it's +2. That's right, I think.
Does me playing along give her an advantage?
Yes. Yeah, you're assisting.
I don't know how to roll for advantage on here, so I'm just going to roll twice. And
I think that's it's a good start.
I'll take the first one, Sam.
Sure. So you're establishing this scene together, and that gives you a 19 in terms of anyone trying to figure you guys out. It's going really well so far. The feel of the deception, the theme you're building, all that kind of stuff, it's working really nice. Charlie, as Grace heads back towards the bar, you guys having worked out the little chip and pin charade. You put the card machine back down on the bar, and it's now ready to clone cards. You notice, just as you start to turn round, you give a little glance, just in that split second, towards David, who you notice just under the lip of the bar with his left hand, as he's got the right hand on the bar with his drink. He's looking down at a poker chip, well, like a casino chip, $500 poker chip, and is messing with it between his fingers. You can't see I'm doing the action, but he's like messing with it with his fingers.
Right.
Like, you know how they play, like people can play around with them. So he's doing a little.
I could do that.
He's trying. It's not perfect, but he's doing a little bit. But he's actually, you know what? He drops it for a second, and he's like, he's really quick to get back down and pick it back up, and then he looks away from you to his left, and then actually he puts it into his inside pocket.
And to his left would be the lobby and the foyer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Grace totally clocks that, and I think she doesn't. She goes and serves someone else, or does some work away, and then she kind of goes over to David, and she flicks her mic on so it's hot, so the team can hear the conversation, and she says, "Planning on spending it all at once?"
What? No, I think I'm going to cash out. And he finishes his drink and he makes his way towards the cage. So he actually walks past you, Nix, and walks over down towards the bottom of the roulette tables.
Slow him and say, "Oh, did you settle your bill?" And she'll hold up the card reader that she's left kind of set up on the bar.
Nice. He says, oh yes, of course. And he picks out of his left pocket a wallet, pulls out a card, and wants to do the tappy. So
he have a good time, and she's making kind of small talk.
Yeah, cool. Yes, thank you. He's very dry. He's very kind of short with his responses, and he puts the card back as quickly as he can without looking dodgy. Puts his wallet back into his jacket pocket, and then goes to leave.
Thank you. Have a good rest of the evening.
Mercy.
How much does his bar tab come to when it pings through my phone?
Give me the receipt, Sam.
I'm assuming that it'll ping when I get his card details.
Sure. There's no. It's for one drink, and it's a vodka and tonic.
I think Grace will talk to herself, and she's like, "That was so strange. She came in for one drink, and always looks like he wanted to leave. 500 chip just in hand, and then shrug and kind of get on with what she's doing and stop talking to herself like a crazy person."
I wonder where he's gone next.
Okay, so Oz,
I'll say, saying to myself,
right.
Like wondering, I wonder where he's gone next.
But saying to the team,
Can I ask Sam, in terms of this casino's policy on cash and retrieving chips, do people need to do that thing where you present your card and your ID and they have to run it through so everything matches?
Sure.
Or...
if that's a thing, totally.
Because what I want to know is...
do you know what I mean? That's a total GM thing of just going, yes. Like, yeah, okay, that's really cool. So what they have to present like an ID, they have a card, and then they have to kind of like cash in the thing, yeah?
Because with having his card details, I'm wondering if I can screw around with that so that if he tries to go to cash out, something flags up as wrong.
Slow him down
like
again.
It'll slow him down in trying to cash out because they're going to have to double check some stuff, or he's going to have to bring out some other ID out of his wallet or something.
Sure, you absolutely can. You're going to have to get into their like back end computer systems somehow.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Am I okay giving you an idea, or would you prefer to keep on your own thing?
Oh, no, go for it.
Just make a huge bunch of purchases from all over the world. Make the bank close down his card.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to go straight to Amazon.
Yep, I'll let you do that.
With an unlisted account that's just been made that, for bump purchases, and start buying all of the weirdest stuff possible.
Okay, cool. This is a pretty simple job, but you have to do it really quickly. So I want you to make an infotech check for me. So this is going to
No.
be, this is going to be your. I was about to say reason. Then that's not at all it.
It's all right. I still keep rolling high and being like, "Oh no, wait, this is 50."
Yeah, I know. So you're going to roll for me intelligence infotech.
Come on, Nick.
This is not going to go well.
It's a difficulty 10. Difficult DC 10.
I have a -1 to this, but we'll see what happens.
Ooh.
No,
Not even close.
No,
Okay,
not even
you're doing the stuff. You're on your smartphone purchasing it. You only get to a couple of websites essentially before he gets to the cage. I mean, for the sake of the scene, I'm going to suppose that you're kind of quietly saying to the team like what you're doing. So Oz, you're prepared for this.
I'm looking down at the cage, waiting for him to come along, and he's pretty far away. I don't have close view of what's happening, but I'd like to. Did you say that he put his chip in his pocket or anything like that, Grace?
Yeah.
Or...
No, she didn't describe where he put the chip.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching him and watching what he does and seeing if he hands in a bunch of chips. Basically, then I'm gonna assume that he's handing something to whoever is in the cage, and that's the person who is either moving it or otherwise is involved with something to do with it.
Like he had 500 chip, so that's
Yeah.
something to watch for.
Okay, make me a DC 5 perception check. It's not a, and I'll do a funny little kind of not spirit of the rules. The higher you get, the more I might give you.
I only got a 9.
It's all right. Basic information. You see him queue up at the cage. There's just one person in front of him, and it's a pretty quick transaction. So by the time that Nix has been trying to make all these purchases, he's already got to the cage. He pulls out one chip from his jacket, and he hands it to the cashier. There is no exchange of details, no card checks, no ID checks, and she hands him a wad of cash.
Bigger than 500.
Definitely bigger than $500.
I'm gonna communicate to the rest of the team that the cashier is involved, whether it's Jijin or not. But the chip is in the casino back rooms. It's going to be in the cage. Could be anywhere very quickly.
Cool. Okay.
We're
reaching up to about. Oh, sorry.
On Spotify while I was doing, and as that just happened, the "Live and Let Die" chorus kicked in. It was it's such a golden moment.
We have succeeded.
Sam, what are security wearing?
They are wearing suits. Quite smart suits, fashionable rather than tuxedos or more traditional kind of suitage. They're wearing something. It's actually a black on black kind of uniform. So the shirt's black. It's a very thin black tie with a silver pin.
Okay. We're gonna I'm gonna communicate to the team. We're gonna need to get into the back rooms. I have an opportunity to maybe to look like I'm part of the security team. Grace, you've already got a good cover. Virginia, we need you doing something.
I was wondering if you're dressing up as security and you're going to try and pull that, I could go around the back and come in through the loading bay.
Sounds good.
I'm assuming we know what all these rooms are, Sam, if we've got the blueprints.
Yeah.
If there's a guard room there, then you could help me get past that.
Yes, definitely.
There's another option here. Do you ever remember how good Nix is at counting cards and how terrible it is when that happens in casinos and how much security guards dislike it? And how you usually take them behind the scenes. So there's no scene in the casino floor.
I could try counting cards.
We didn't have to actually do it. Oz just needs to claim that you were doing it to walk you back.
That is true.
Also, I need I need to do the first step first. I don't look like one of them.
Okay, in which case, if we're going for that, I will position myself over at what's a card game? I'll go and position myself at a blackjack table then.
Okay.
And just start casually playing, and I'm going to hope that Nix is halfway decent at blackjack.
All right.
Strong.
Virginia is. I don't know if my character is.
Just wanted to flag up quickly.
Elements of the disguise. Because Grace can go and pick those up.
It sounds like I need a tie and a black shirt.
Okay, so Grace is gonna go to the bartender and look down and like point out she's got a stain on her. I need to go grab one of the spare shirts. Can you just wave me through, kind of thing?
Yeah, okay. I need you to make me a deception check, please. Deception, whatever I've called it. I think it's deception.
Yeah, it's called deception.
Yep.
Cool.
And my deception is +4.
Nice.
No, +6.
DC for this is going to be 10. Because it's just a normal guy. Normal bartender.
22.
Nice. Okay. I mean, so the woman behind the bar here, it's the 13th night on the trot of a long run of double shifts, and she just doesn't give a shit. I mean, so many agency workers are coming through back and forth, and you know what? Even though, no, I'm gonna be like, she's just like, just take my card, jeez. Like,
Wow.
she gives you her like tapping in ID card thingy.
She boops and she goes straight on through.
Yeah.
And she's gonna go and do the job that she said she was gonna go and do, which is go and grab uniform, and she'll come out with it in her arms and say, "I'm just gonna go change in the restroom."
Yeah.
At which point I will move to the restroom area.
Cool. No problem, guys. No problem.
For tactical purposes, how progressive is this casino? Are they unisex restrooms? That will make this thing so much easier.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. It's one fancy bathroom. Like,
I imagine it's like super Japanese minimalism. It's just like one mirror on a giant wall.
Yeah.
And then,
The sink is just like one trough with
Yeah.
with like the things coming out. You put your hands under.
all in like a white sandstone.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Even the toilets are white sandstone.
Wow.
And a bonsai tree at one end of the sink.
Yes.
And in the bottom of the sink, it's not like a normal. It's not flat. It's actually like lots of big stones. The water just flows over.
Yeah, so that kind of, tranquil, like Zen garden kind of atmosphere. Yeah. Dark grey stones to contrast in the room.
Can I make a small addition? On her way back through the bar, Grace swipes that card machine that's bugged.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to put the contact card in it. Not knowing if this is going to work, but to try and give Nyx a copy of the staff card.
Nyx, your smartphone buzzes as with a notification that to the untrained eye looked like a IM message or something. So you open it up and you've got details of the bartender. It's essentially just a kind of name, photo on file, and an employment number. I think that's it for now. If anything comes up relevant that's later, because I'm running a bit on the fly, then I'll let you know. Because if there's any there's,
Isn't it?
yeah. But if there's like a code to a thing or a safe or something, I'll let you know.
If we need her date of birth for the code.
Yeah, you let me know when you need that.
Okay. But yeah, in the bathroom, I'm gonna swap out of the tux I'm in, grab the black shirt from Grace and switch into that, and go into sort of bouncer mode.
Cool. All right.
Grace also changes because that's what she said she was gonna do. And then she'll head straight back out, having washed her hands, to go and return the card.
Mm-hmm. And you're back in the white uniform, as I was imagining. You're back in the waitress uniform. Yeah, cool. All right. I just want to flag up quickly for everybody that we've hit 6 o'clock. People want to carry on going for a little bit. I'm good
to keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay, this is fun. So let's just carry on.
Am I able to, now I can see how like the data is laid out for those kind of staff cards. Am I able to kind of through, I don't know, weird backwards engineering, but make it look like Armstrong is an employee? So if anyone runs, he could say that he's lost his card, but if they run it, it'll flag up.
Okay, you're going to need his photo. which you could take on a smartphone. You are also going to need to make a couple of hacking checks for me. One of them is going to be accessing their system remotely, and then the other one is going to be to modify their system remotely. Let me just.
It's going to be infotech again, or could I swing it with infiltration?
This is going to be infotech. This is hacking. Let me bring up.
Well, if I'm going to be taking.
Oh, I'm proficient with hacking software. Apparently.
There you go.
I completely didn't realise that.
So you add your proficiency modifier to those checks.
I mean, two is. I mean, one is better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to try this anyway and just see?
I think hijinks is a good idea. Go for it.
Because if anything, it might just screw up their computer systems a little bit, so they'll have to deal with that, and it slows everything down.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one is to get into their system, right?
Yeah. It's in. It's currently in character creation, isn't it? It's in the hacker, I think.
The only downside of this is we're going to lose sight of who that handoff was made to.
Because we're taking some time for this.
You are, yeah.
All of us have got moved away.
I like it. It might be best if we just get on with this and get in as quick as possible.
Well, it doesn't stop Nix from doing this, but I'm just saying for our part, like, we would probably have that in mind. Like, we've all stopped watching.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, from where I am in the bar, if this guy, he's not at the cage anymore, is he?
No.
But I have a clear sight to where the foyer is, so he can't leave without walking past where I can see him.
Yeah, and
So,
he is
yeah.
as you're trying to innuendally communicate and you're trying to work this out, and the two of you guys are in the toilet. Virginia, he passes you by just behind you and making his way towards the foyer.
This is David, yeah?
David, yeah.
Yeah, so there's still whoever it is that was in the cage. That's who I'm more worried about.
that's who I was more
I think the drop's already been made now, so I don't think
Yeah.
he's useless to us now.
Yeah.
So the concern is who we gave the chip to in the cage.
Yes.
You could still have eyes on Nick still if you were watching Cage. Well, assuming they may have moved beyond the cage, but then at least we'd know that.
I'll tell you what, Nix, you take a look behind you, just at the cage, just in this, and you can see there are a couple of people. They're basically kind of doing like a kind of restock style thing. This is definitely a theme though, and someone is approaching the person who's been handed off to in the cage, and they're doing a transaction of chips and cash. And then they start to make their way back into the back rooms of the casino.
Okay, in which case I'm going to flick my mic on and pretend that I'm talking to the croupier and being really impatient by going, "Oh, will you please hurry up? Because otherwise, my car's going to leave. I want to finish this hand and get out of here."
Okay. Then as quick as I can, I'm gonna finish getting changed and I'm just gonna hang up the shirt I had on the back of the thing because I've got nowhere else to put it. And on the back of the the stall door and make my way back out to where Virginia is. I'm gonna kind of walk up and down the aisles of these blackjack tables, kind of glancing over at all the patrons, just kind of looking at what they're doing and looking what their hands are doing. Then when I get to Virginia, what I would like to do is kind of look at do the best impression of a double take of whatever Virginia is doing at the time, and kind of move over to her, look over her shoulder, and then just loudly enough for the people around to hear me, I want to say, "Excuse me, miss, could you please come with me?" And do like a nod to the person who's running the table.
Yeah. That's cool.
Okay.
I would like you to make me a deception check.
Yeah.
DC 10.
Yeah.
If I try to make it look like it's not, like I'm not just going, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Why? What's this about?" Like, I've been spending money here all night and now I've done something wrong. I like to try and push that he is
All right.
genuine.
Grab yourself an advantage there, man.
Okay. 19.
There we go.
No.
All right.
Oh no, hang on. Sorry, that was 15. 15.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, plus any modifier you've got if you have.
I don't have modified to deception.
No, that's cool. But you do it anyway with a 15. So, yeah, the croupier is a bit surprised, but is like, looks at you for a second, is like, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, madam, but you're going to have to come and speak with the management with me.
I'm going to grab what I imagine she's got like a little fancy dinner clutch and her phone kind of really angrily and just kind of go, well, you know, when I tell your manager what's happened here, they're not going to be pleased. I've spent a lot of money tonight, and just carry on pulling that really shitty customer theme.
Yeah, so I'm going to just sort of knock back down. And when you start to move, I'll do the sort of slightly behind you, putting my hand like a foot behind your back. In theory, like someone could run or something like that, but making it clear that I'm trying to assert a sort of bouncer physical dominance vibe, just until we get to the door to the back room here.
Yeah, no, Nyx will play along with the whole, you don't need to touch me, I am walking. Do you know how much this dress costs?
I'm not touching you, madam. If we just keep on moving towards the door, we'll... And is there someone standing there, or is there like a BP thing, or?
So there is both. There is someone standing there, and he is standing next to a BP thing.
Okay. Oh God, hang on. I don't have a BP thing.
No.
Okay, we're gonna get to the door, and and as we approach, I'm gonna say to Virginia, make a scene. He might open it for us.
Just bear in mind as well that Nyx does have her smartphone on her,
This is true.
She has the card clone that she can the little frequency she can emit from her phone too.
This is true.
But that could all work in what you're trying to do, I think.
I will turn around and make a scene and do that whole thing of like hitting you with my clutch in the chest, make it look really hard. And what I'm going to try and do is to like as I'm doing that, slip you my phone with that open. So that you could probably like pretend to swipe something. And if you cover your hand well enough, perhaps I'll believe it was a card and not the phone, and just do that. I've told you not to touch the dress. I don't even know what I've done wrong. And just
Madam, I'm not trying to, we just need to have a conversation about the gambling that's been going on today. If there's no problem, beep, then we should be able to get this sorted.
Oh, that's so cool. So good. Yes. Oh my God.
She's then going to do that annoying thing that customers do whenever like you're like, well, we're going to go to the manager, and it's like, fine, and they just start going on their own. I'm just going to do that. Fine, I will see your manager, and just walk through that open door as it opens. You don't need to touch me. I'm going.
You walk through that door straight into the counting room. So let me drag you guys down there.
But before I walk through the back room myself, I'm sure that me and the security guard will have a moment where we look at each other and go, like, we both understand.
Yeah. And he's he just shrugs at you, shakes his head, doesn't say anything.
Okay, so who is in the counting room, I think would be my...
So essentially, in here, at the various little tables, you've got one to your left and right. You've got a longer counting table there in front of you. At the longer counting table is cash, and there are a couple of people working the other side from you, with their back to facing you, with their back to the wall in chairs, and they're quickly counting out money. There's people carrying a bit of that money between that and the doorway to your left-hand side, so the kind of east side of the map there in the room. To your left and right, you've also got people who are setting up chips, racks of chips and stuff there. So I imagine the $500 chip is the yellow. It's got a kind of a gold mustardy yellow color to it. Everything else, obviously, you've got your like blues and purples and reds and blacks and stuff like that. So it's all a different mix of stuff going on. So you can see a whole different mix of colors that are in the stacks and in the chips.
So is everybody facing towards us, or are people like a mix of towards us and away from us?
So left and right of you on those tables, there is a mix. They don't turn round.
Okay. And they're focused on what they're doing for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. One person from the table in front of you looks up very briefly and then just goes back down to what they're doing. They see you. They've taken the scene at face value.
Yeah. I'm going to say to Virginia very quickly, are they in here? Yes or no?
The I don't know if I saw the cashier from I wouldn't have been able to see them from the bar, would I?
The person who was given the...
Let's make a let's just make a like a memory check. So like I'd say that maybe that would be probably wisdom. Just a flat wisdom check.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let's make it DC 10 because it was quite a distance away. It was quite a quick moment.
Oh, this is just a straight D20 roll then.
Cool, okay.
No.
Okay.
My dice hate me when I'm a player.
Unfortunately not. I mean, there are lots of different people in here, and all wearing the same uniform too, like this croupier uniform with a waistcoat and stuff. So you are looking for a woman, though, a fairly young woman. But that's kind of all you got to go on right now.
Of the people in here, how many people fit that description?
There are 2 people in here that fit that description. One of them is to your right-hand side immediately, and the other one has just started to walk from the the left-hand table to you towards the door, the corridor.
Okay.
If I spot this, I'm going to go, so where's your manager then? Through there, and point towards where she's walking.
Mm-hmm.
And start marching over there and that, like, well, you brought me back here. I want to talk to somebody.
Madam, if you would hesitate from rushing off too fast, but I will follow, just keeping up appearances. And as I'd like to kind of glance over everything, kind of like have a look at the tables as I go past them, because you've got the person who's walking over to the door, and then you've got the second person. I just want to look over and see if there's anything out of place on the 2 people, basically.
In terms of on their person, sorry, I was scrolling through the mission a little bit. So on their person or on the tables?
Yeah, on I guess on their person, because I would imagine they want to separate the item from the rest of the chips.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I want you to make a perception check for me. DC 15. There's quite small stuff going on.
13.
Just a 13? Cool, okay. You don't spot anything out of the ordinary on the person to your left-hand side, where they are assigning some chips to a larger tray in which they can take out to the cashier at the cage. The person who obviously you're potentially following is their backs turned towards you. There's no real sign of being able to figure out kind of what to do there.
Okay. If we get to the corridor, I'm going to say something, unless, Virginia, you want to do something beforehand? Next.
I just want to know, does it look like she is leaving with purpose in terms of I've got up to go and do something, or is it the, like, my shift has ended and I'm getting out of here kind of thing?
She's got something to do. Yeah, she's walking with purpose.
I am going to carry on that. So your manager's through here then and carry on going? Because on here, if we know what all the rooms were, there's a utility closet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if possible, once we're in the corridor, as long as there's no one else here, I would kind of basically like to grab and drag her into it.
Okay, cool.
While this is all happening, Grace is still outside in the casino, and she wants to see if she could pick up a tail and David, purely to watch to see if we can get a clue of where he goes, in case we need to track him down later, in case we've misread it for some reason and there's a further drop or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You follow him into the foyer, and he makes his way outside. There's actually quite a short pavement on here. The casino is on more of a kind of a main street, like a high street, intercity street. So there is a little rank of casinos. There's a little rank of taxis that all have lined up, that are lined up just outside, and he starts making his way towards one now.
Grace is going to ask if she should pick up a taxi. Just be like,
we can track his card, so we'll see where his transactions are, if he's staying at a hotel or visit somewhere else. That's the only thing. We don't necessarily have to physically follow him.
Yeah. And
Grace is just basically asking, is it worth me doing this in case we really need him? And like in like a quick, like we need to quickly grab him, or shall I just let him go? I'll pick up the taxi registration because we can look up where the taxi went. Most routes are logged anyway.
I'm gonna say under my breath that it's near the end of the day. I should get back to the staff room at some point.
All right. And Grace kind of looks at the taxis one last time. Mental note of the registration of the one. I'm assuming he's getting into one. And she'll kind of mentally note that down, and she'll be mentally chanting that to herself as she goes back into the building. And she says, "Oh, can I just grab that card again?" Just the bartender grabs the card again, assuming there's no problems.
Yeah.
And she just boots herself in and heads towards the staff room. And she knows what that is because we looked at the blueprints earlier. Well, she knows roughly where she should be going.
You guys have got this memorized. Yeah, it's your spies. You've got the blueprints in your head perfectly down. Yeah. Cool. So
and I want to take my smartphone out, and I'm gonna text the registration before I forget it to Nix and to Armstrong, so we all have the information for later. And I don't have to remember it anymore.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
In the blueprints, there's one room that what is an anti-room?
It is a
Do
room.
you mix it with a normal room to make energy?
It's a room that doesn't like other rooms.
Okay.
No, let me check on the.
It's like a non-room, like it's like a pre-room.
Yeah. Where are we?
Kind of like when you used to get like the secretary's room before you went into the meeting room, or
12.
When you do jury service and they put you in little holding rooms before you get to go through.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, what's beyond that? So 9 is like security office. It's for these purposes, I reckon it's going to be one of those rooms that just gives you another point of separation.
Yeah.
Before you have to go into another room, because the security room they're going to want to keep fairly secure.
Yeah, like an antechamber, but because we're not in a dungeon, it's just a room.
Yeah. We had to call it something else.
Yeah. Okay, so as the woman's walking outside, are we in front of this woman who is going into the corridor, or is she in front of us?
She's in front of you.
Okay, well, as soon as we get into the corridor and Virginia's the
I'm not going to try and be quiet about it behind her because she's already heard me talking.
Okay. I am going to close the door behind us as soon as we get out, though, just so the hunting room doesn't hear us.
I am going to speed up in that. Go on then. Where's your manager? Where's your manager? And as soon as I've caught up to her and we're by that door, and I'm imagining because it's like a utility closet, it's probably not going to be locked. People are going to need to come in and out of here. So I'm going to hopefully use some of the knowledge that I have in terms of like using a garrote string. Not using that, but pinching the point on the throat that means she can't scream. Like as I grab her, just to shut her up. Like one hand here, one hand over the mouth, and then just like shouldering into the room.
Yeah. So that description is all perfect, because I also want you to draw your guys' attention to what I've done with like grappling and restraining, which is about page 12. Straddles page 12 and 13 on the new combat bit, because I wanted to beef it up a little bit from the normal 5e rules. So what I would say at this point is that she has looked round at you, because you're not being quiet about it. She, like I would turn around if someone was mouthing off just to see what was going on. So as you turn the corner, she's got a little tray of chips in hand, all different colours, yellow as well, and she turns and she's like, oh, what the fuck? As you go towards her. So you've got 2 free hands, haven't you?
Yeah.
So if you use both hands in a grapple instead of just the one, and you succeed, you grab hold of the opponent and they're subject to the restrained condition. So restrained means that you've basically then kind of got more control over them. I think it's in another bit, because the conditions are in another section. but to memory, it's more along the lines of like they're not able to attack, you can cover their mouth, all that kind of thing. So it just beefs up grapple a little bit more. And they're subject to that condition. It ends if, something that would end a grapple, or if you decide to release them and there's not an action for that.
So restrained, if we're taking the standard 5e stuff, is their speed is 0, attacks against them have advantage, they've got disadvantage on any sort of dexterity saving thing.
Yeah, let me try and pull up my working draft.
And yeah, they have disadvantage if they're attacking other things, unless you've changed it from that.
Yeah, I wanted to limit it a bit more for that, for people who are suffering it. Because I just it's very thematic. It's that trope of grabbing someone and taking control of their ability to move, to hit people.
To a caster in a game once in 5e, and I just put their face in the ground so they couldn't see and they couldn't speak because I didn't want them casting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't want to harm them because they were possessed, and it was a whole thing that was going on, but I wanted to control them so they weren't casting anymore. So I got a hold of them, put them on the ground, and then I just put their face in the ground so they couldn't see or speak.
But the whole kind of, kind of thing is very,
the
spy.
quick grab.
Yeah.
Armstrong might have to grab the chips that she's inevitably going to drop.
Yeah. Oh well. So I haven't. Yeah, I haven't actually added it in here yet. So yeah, I wanted to, but normally you can only grapple, right? I wanted to actually give you that ability to make that restrained condition instead.
Control.
I've also got the fact that if you restrain an enemy, you're holding them, you can attempt to take the weapon they're holding. So you must succeed a strength athletics check contested by theirs. Not an attack. And as per the restrained condition, advantage or disadvantage is not automatically applied. So it's not that you get advantage on that, because you're still trying to hold them. It's that you're trying to take control of whatever they've got. So you could actually try and take control of the chips that she's holding.
I'm more interested in getting her into the room. I'm hoping that Armstrong will grab those off the floor.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Because we're here for them. You're dealing with that. I'll deal with this.
Yeah. So I did this fairly recently, actually, whilst I was preparing the chapter, and I thought I want keen to know what you guys make of this. So from grappling while hidden. So if you're infiltrating an area, if you've been quiet about this, and if you'd actually snuck around the corner, you can try the check against their passive strength -5, because they've essentially got, or you've got a kind of advantage, but it's more that they've got disadvantage, I think. And maybe that was the kind of easier way to think around it. I mean, it's arguably you could do it one of two ways. You could do it with you have advantage on that check, or it's against their passive, but their passive is -5 because they've kind of got disadvantage on that. Might actually be that you have advantage.
I do like the passive things. Not enough things in 5th edition use passive, it makes sense for you to be consistently good at this, because if you're trying to do this to X number of people, then not having to worry about the fluff roll is a good thing.
Yeah. And then if you succeed, you have considered to have silenced them temporarily, covering their mouth. If you do so, they will not alert their allies. Normal grappling and restraint rules apply. So the idea is to silently get them.
Which is not what Virginia is doing.
No, but it's always a kind of cool trope of like infiltration and sneaking around and stuff like that.
It's more the case I didn't want it to be suspicious that we were suddenly being very quiet when I was already kicking up a fuss. So it was keeping up the pretense as opposed to suddenly like hearing heels behind you when she probably wouldn't be expecting that in the corridor.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Cool. Okay, so if you make a strength athletics check for me, this is going to be contested, so I got to pull out some casino person stats, not security guard.
I'm really good at this.
Bartender, no.
Providing the
patron,
roll
no.
doesn't completely fail.
Cage manager, no.
25.
Oh, all right. I guess this is going to be with no modifier, essentially. So I'm not going to roll. You've beaten it. I won't have a modifier. It's just a normal person. So you with both hands managed to restrain her. chips fall on the floor.
I'm going to be doing two things very quickly with the same chips. Is one, picking them up, putting them back on the tray and lifting up the tray.
Mm-hmm.
I'll then take them into the utility closet, and
Mhm.
while Virginia is doing whatever to this person to subdue them, I'm going to be going through the yellow ones, looking for anything out of place, if there's any signifier of the chip being different in any way.
Wow.
If they're actually here, because they might not be.
Yeah. This is going to be quite hard, I think. Make me a perception check with DC 15.
18.
All right. You flick through the chips that are in this tray, just the yellow ones. And there is one that it's like a millimeter, but it has a slightly convex shape either side, in that it's got something inside it that has obviously kind of been planted in here. It's also weirdly slightly lighter than the other ones. So rather than being the kind of harder clay, I'm imagining there's kind of, where there's kind of the circuitry, and there's not only some like light metal, but there's also probably some of the semiconductor stuff. Yeah, so it's it's not fully kind of like proper clay chip.
Do I have any spy secreted pockets on this outfit, or is it just normal suit?
Normal suits.
Okay.
You're not wearing your spy corset.
I'm sorry, I don't have my spy corset.
You should have tucked it
on.
down your spy corset. That'll work.
Next, I can imagine the actual conversation afterwards. They'll be like, "Next time, Grace. Next time."
I imagine this is what happened. Like Grace appears in this utility room, and he's there with this chip. Like,
I put it in my sock, basically.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. So you have a chip with a chip inside.
Okay, really dumb question, Virginia and Charlie. Was our mission to get the chip?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
not to get.
But we also should identify the contact, right?
Yeah.
Because do we know what organization they work for other than the Uni of Tokyo?
No, but in that case,
get info.
There's one thing that we know, and that is that they're going to have an escape car in the back. We somehow got that bit of information, so someone should try and make their way to the loading bay and work out whose car that is.
I want to quickly see what she knows. I want to know if she's in on this or if she's just been told that this is going to happen, take a chip somewhere.
Okay.
So while I've got her kind of pinched by the throat, I'm going to be like, I'm going to take my hand away from your mouth. You are not going to scream. If I scream, he's going to shoot you, as I point it over at Oz.
I mean,
rather nonchalantly, I take out the gun and I point it at her.
Yeah.
So she's petrified as it is, and as you do that and say that, her eyes just widen even more.
That's fine. I am the nice one. I don't want to shoot you because I want to believe that all of this is a big misunderstanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
She give you that shaky nod.
Ease off of her hand, and I'm not gonna move my fingers away from that point on her throat. I'm just gonna relax them. You were carrying those chips. Where were you taking them?
She says to a crab's table 2.
To a crab's table. Table 2, you said?
2. It's by the stairs.
And who were they for?
This person. I know the chip you mean, but I don't know what it does.
Okay, so you don't know this person. You were just told to take this somewhere.
Sounds like my break's over. And Grace is gonna leave the utility closet and wander back out into the casino.
Well, just before you go, I whisper to you, take one of the other chips, and I I passed you one of the yellow chips.
Oh, I could just take the tray, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't take the whole tray of chips out onto the floor.
That's what she was gonna do.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go.
Just without the chip.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I'll do is I'll take the chips and I'll quickly straighten them so they look right and like they've been properly counted and everything. And then I'm gonna go back to the door that I didn't use because it's the door that was used, and I'll go out through it. And
Yeah.
as I see the guy, I say, "Walk me."
Yeah. So they're in the tray that you've got in the row of the $500 ones. If anyone were to look down and like a croupier would know what they were doing, they would see that one is missing.
That's okay, because if the guy runs, I just gotta run faster than he does.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna make her give me a rough, or give Grace a rough description of who they were going to, and then
She doesn't know. She just was told to take it to Crab's Table 2. That's what she was told.
Okay.
All right.
Because you're monsters, I want to make this
I've
the
got to
thing.
go back through the counting room anyway, right?
You can, yeah. It would look a bit
If I
weird
go
though.
through-
She's come from the counting room. She was walking down the corridor. She was going to go back through the other entrance into the casino floor.
It's
have
fine.
I still got casino chips on me? Because I was playing games, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Have I got a $500 whatever?
I mean,
casino
I'm happy
chip?
for Grace to go in the counting room and be like, "This tray isn't full," and like put it down. Table 2 is waiting. Get it sorted out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think, V, you've got like a $500 chip. I think you've
No,
got...
it's fine. I get
think
the
you've got-
feeling I did not have that much money.
I think you've got like smaller ones. But yeah, I think Grace can totally just go back in and be like, "There's one missing. What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know?
She
Yeah.
sets it down next to whoever is currently at the counting table and just waits for it to be filled.
Yeah, cool. So they take out a little, it's like an accident book, like an incident report thing, and they start filling in what's going on. So they're asking you for like a name, like
I have no idea. The girl should be fired. They're waiting.
No, they're asking for your name and your like employment number and stuff.
That's fine. She grabs the card
Mm-hmm.
that she was given by the bartender and just puts that down.
Nice.
We don't have time. He's waiting.
All right, roll me a
She's
deception.
assuming it's a he.
All right, yeah. Roll me a deception check.
Yeah, I'm done.
DC 15. This is kind of tough. You've got some.
12. Even with my plus 6. 12.
Ooh. Okay. So
It's more fun when you say all the rolls.
yeah. So the cashier is like, we do have time. This gets logged. Otherwise, you're fired. What is going on? Who did you pick up the tray from?
And I just make up a name, a Japanese name, because Grace would be able to do that. Charlie can't do that because she's crap at names.
All right. So they're like, they don't work here. What do you? Who
Have
are
you got your comms open, Charlie? Can we hear this?
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask her, what's your name?
Ooh. Okay.
Remember, I'm the nice one. I don't want to shoot you. He wants to shoot
All right.
you.
She
And
says.
I'll pull back the hammer.
We're playing good cop, bad cop now.
I get it. Even I'm uneasy. All right. So yeah,
I'm
she.
playing to my trait. You know, I like.
I have no intention of actually shooting her, just
no,
out of
no.
game.
This is just a random mook.
Yeah.
Um,
She says Inoue.
I'm going to whisper that down to Charlie.
Okay.
All right. I imagine then what would probably have happened is Grace, if she'd have thought about the comms being open, would have waited. Like, as the question was asked and gone,
All right.
and wait for the team. Because we work together, so
Yeah, I'll essentially give you a reroll here.
is
Go
that
on.
okay?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. This is where it gets worse.
Let's hope so.
One better.
The guy's like, Inoue's not a counter. She's a courier.
Well, then, why have I got this tray?
Uh,
All right, fine. You keep the tray.
as that
I need to get back to the bar.
Okay, as you turn, the door that's in the counting room here opens. Two of the casino guards step in, and are facing off against you. They don't pull them out, but they open their jacket a bit, so they've got a hand on their gun and they've got a hand out, stopping you, and they ask you to stop. I'm going to finish there for today.
Yeah.
Hey.
So she's pressed a little silent alarm.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Grace is facing off against 2 security guards, and Virginia and me have a gun to some poor innocent woman's head.
We've got the chips, so that's one thing down.
Yeah,
It's all going great.
it's good. It's all
And
good.
I'm pretty sure Grace can talk her way out of 2 security guards. It doesn't matter to Grace if it takes her 4 hours. You two are still free to do whatever you gotta do.
True. You just got to get out then at that point.
Yeah, you've taken 2 security guards out without harming them in any way.
2 down.
Cool. All right. So
But we didn't start a gunfight, and that's what's important.
That's true. That is what's important. That was
They're
cool.
flashing their guns, but it's a bit extreme, but fine.
All the cool people flash their guns.
Yeah. Oh my
Hammer
god.
back. Safety off.
Sometimes you just have to do good cop, bad cop to make sure people don't screw you around.
Yeah. There is no intent for this woman's brains to be anywhere but inside her head.
Yeah. No, my plan is to, like, providing this all doesn't go completely south, is going to do the whole, you should probably end your shift here and find another job. Like, just don't come back here.
Oh no, this has been really good. Thank you very much, Sam.
That's all right, man. That's all right. So that was, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Any thoughts on anything? Because we're meant to be testing, but we're just playing, and it's quite fun. And it was quite kind of light in terms of mechanics tonight. But yeah, what do you
I
think?
think what players may find is there's a lot on them to figure out a plan, and
Yeah.
players who struggle with planning are going to struggle.
Sure.
They're not spies and they don't know, and it'll come down, I think, to I don't know what GM guidance you're giving,
Mm.
but I think you might need to consider, how you make it fun for them to plan, and how they deliver, tidbits, so it's not always like, I panic and I roll infiltration and I hope it gives me something useful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can build, I think, a bit of that into adventure writing too.
I think
Hopefully.
obviously they know they're going to be playing a spy game, and half that's
Yeah.
going to be planning how you do these things, and that comes into player expectation of a game. But I do think that they're constantly going to usually be presented with a puzzle, and there are the skills in this to use it, but it's still a lot of player, how are you going to solve this?
Yeah, that's so true. And obviously I find this stuff really fun, so I can come up with this stuff a lot, and actually I'm a lot more comfortable and can think quickly more on my feet if it's more modern and kind of sci-fi stuff. Fantasy, sometimes I can get a little bit stuck on what things are and what you have in the setting or in the kind of more medieval feel of things.
The way I approach these games, so they're fun for me, is I just see it as a story. So if the plan goes totally wrong, that's just part of the story, and that's the fun bit. And it's not about winning the puzzle and actually getting through the mission without fucking it up.
Yeah.
Finding your new contacts, getting yourself into ridiculous positions where you're suspended from a ceiling over a croupier table, and everyone looks up and being like, "This is a fun moment.
That's story goals right
Where
there.
do I go from here?
Yeah.
Oh, I end up in Thai jail. All right, that's fine. We'll do a prison break next session. That's fine."
Yeah. I think so you're right. I think like the emphasis needs to be put on that this is a story. That while there's some elements of heists and you want to get it right and you don't want people to fail, failure is interesting, and therefore what happens when you do that, it's just developing a little bit more of that basic kind of GM
make failure
thing.
fun.
Yeah.
Success is good. Failure is interesting.
Yeah.
My tagline for RPGs now.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was feeling while playing this game is like I was very tense every time there was a dice roll, which is good. But on the other hand, the reason I was feeling tense was that it really felt like if one thing went wrong, then the entire plan would fall apart.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of somewhat inherent in the D20 system, is that when you're trying to do infiltration, well, because as soon as someone sees you, they could just do a shout, and then everybody knows, or something like that. And I'm just wondering how empowered the players are to mitigate that.
Yeah.
And one thing we did, I think like twice or three times while we were playing, is we did like minor retcons of this is actually what the team would have done if we'd have thought about this 30 seconds ago. With like, for example, the name, like with Nick's giving Grace the name, and you know, the key card thing of I picked up the key scanner. Because I think, especially when you're streaming as well, you're trying to make decisions as quick as you can so you don't hold things up.
Sure.
And then you get into it like 2 minutes later, oh, I wish I'd have thought about this for 2 minutes because I would have figured it out.
Maybe you could mitigate some of that with some kind of good GM guidance in terms of like, if they do fail a roll, it doesn't mean that everything falls to pieces, but perhaps give the players the opportunity immediately afterwards, or like, how do they lessen that impact? Saying, you know, you're probably going to be discovered, and considering what other preparation they took to limit how bad that is. So just like the name,
offering another team member a role of what did you do to help to make this worse. You know, you saw the chips were about to fall on the floor. They're always going to fall, but what do you do to change the situation?
Yeah, there's something in that, like, so, you know, assisting someone gives advantage to the person who rolled. So maybe there's something in making that ability to retcon it, so that, you know, if they're in a situation where like, oh, I failed, was actually, well, hang on, I'm with you. So maybe if I helped this way, and we kind of had that before a little bit, and actually it was you, Charlie, reminded me about that rule. Where that, you know, instead it's doing it retroactively rather than like setting up the assist at the time.
You do
maybe
see that in spy films and in heist films. You get the rewind of how did this actually happen? Like you see the outcome and it looks slick and stuff, and you go back and you see all the tiny little moving pieces that happen.
I was going to say the Ocean's 11. You know, you think something's going bad, but then you go back 2 hours. I mean, I don't know if that works narratively in this kind of game, but within the scene itself, that certainly was good.
It could be a variant rule, like if there's a crucial fail and the DM feels it's going to narratively, you know, drop the morale for the players, they offer a rewind.
Yeah.
And you go back and you play through.
I was going to say, what could be a thing is, I don't know if you're using inspiration in this game, but the possibility of, instead of using inspiration as a reroll or an advantage or to negate a disadvantage, using it as almost a Deus Ex Machina point, so you can be like, you can spend it to say, you know, yes, a bad thing happened, but can I get this thing out of it? Like a
or a fate point,
failure with advantage, basically, or failure with, you know, caveat.
Yeah. Quite possibly.
Or even just like narratively allowing the player, if they completely fail, make that split second so like, oh, the chips have dropped. So it could be just a split second of like, okay, the chips have been dropped, but I'm gonna back into the cupboard behind me. So the chips are still dropped. Somebody's still alerted that something's going on, but it's not necessarily as bad.
Yeah.
In that sense, because that is the case. Like things take time. Like people's reactions aren't nearly as quick as I think a lot of people play them as in role play games.
Yeah.
Like the guard spots you, but he's not immediately going to start shouting. He's probably going to be like, what the hell's going on? And it takes those few seconds to process something.
Maybe what it almost is every spy has a reaction, like a specific spy reaction. So if something has gone horribly wrong, you trigger or you cause spy reaction. And so that takes your reaction, but it means that you can do something after a failure and it continues moving on then. To
kind of mitigate that failure. And you can make that quite thematic too.
You don't completely undo the failure, but you don't have your spy completely trapped unless the player wants them to be for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that could work between like classes. Each class could have a different thematic one, or you could choose based on the background you have. Although I would worry that the soldiers one would just be like, I shoot them.
Sure, yeah, no, I get that. That's
and
cool.
It's like, maybe it's even like you can even limit it to like a once per scene.
Yeah.
If you were going to use movie framing, or you know, once per short rest, long rest, to use D&D language.
Yeah.
It's not every time they fail a roll, I use my reaction and I fix it.
Yeah, that's so true. But it's an interesting kind of conceptual, like kind of discussion to have, I think, because there's been a bigger move from more kind of narrative games the last few years to have mechanics that allow people to try and mitigate or to try and make a success out of failure. Because maybe I think it's probably a bit more, for want of a better term, kind of an old school thing whereby if a failure was a failure and you had to roll with the punches. It's interesting, and I'm really going to think on it because I really liked how tense things, like even I was very tense about how, like, I know that when I like play LARPs and I play quite kind of like espionage characters quite often, and there's a particular one that I go to that I like play a kind of spy master type person, and there is constantly that thing of if I make one slip up, this is just all fucked, and I quite like that though as well.
I think it is important, and you don't want it. And I think with 5e, I usually find like rolls don't matter that much because you have so many quick fixes for things, like magical fixes for like if you take too much damage, etc., etc. And I think that's what I did enjoy, was it was tense every time I made a roll. I was like, please don't screw this roll.
Yeah.
And I do like, a spy screws up, they got to face those consequences and they got to get out of there somehow.
And again, it's that failure is interesting thing.
I feel like there is thing is I don't think it's about removing the failure. I think it's about doing that thing that I think anyone who's trained to is a situation has gone wrong. So I've already got plan B, C, D, E planned up in my head. They've already thought about that. So it's not that they like getting rid of the failure. It's I have failed, but what is the thing that I instantly switch to now to try and lessen the damage to the situation? So it doesn't mean they're not, you don't retcon that they've been spotted, but it's like, what do I do now? I've been spotted, and I've got like a second to try and blend back in or give myself some time, or 30 seconds so that the person down the hall can get round the corner.
Or you can communicate to your team, like a buying quick time.
I think there's something in these spy reactions, because I think it also provides a bit of synergy for combat too. Because there's that thing about infiltration and surprise rounds. So actually, maybe there's something in that if you're detected, you can get a reaction, or you have a reaction that lets you do something.
I think another benefit that could come from it is a lot of spies run as lone wolves, and this is going to push you to try and use your team.
Yeah.
I'm screwed. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
And you're calling your hacker, or you're calling your assassin, or the soldier to come and rescue your face, or whoever's in trouble. The soldier's cornered. They're calling the hacker to turn the lights off.
I misheard that.
Rescue your face.
Come and rescue your face.
Yeah, or it's the opposite. It's like, I've been caught, but it's fine, carry on. Almost kind of what you're doing for us now is that, like, I think I might have been found out, but you guys can just carry on going.
I think we're still talking around the whole failure is interesting and having to mitigate for that, and it is part of the coolness of the game of tabletop games, is that something goes wrong, therefore how do we fail forward? So yeah, a lot of GM advice, a lot of kind of caveats. Not so sure about hard coding it into the rules, but I like a spy reaction. I'm gonna think on it, and I'm gonna try and maybe add something in.
Maybe that's what you call it instead of like inspiration. Like if your spy does something cool that is spy, like a cool card handoff, or they think to do something, then the GM goes spy reaction. So next time they're in a spot, they can blow their spy reaction. You can only have one because it's the same as DM inspiration, but they can do something cool that can change their fail. Because they've already shown they've got a little skill, and they kind of roll forward with that momentum. But then it's gone, and they've got to continue playing the game, and they've got to continue trying to be a good spy.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Cat, you're moving my desk. What are you doing? Come on.
But no, this was super fun, and thanks to James for putting it together, and wonderful little maps.
Oh man, the maps. I don't even prep for this for sessions this much. Like,
I feel put to shame because I don't prep for any of my sessions this much anymore either. So
I love it. He told me in the week, like, so I wanted to do like maybe just a sketch of the casino to make sure that you guys knew what was going on, and then mistakes were made. I was like, welcome to GMing. It was very cool. So yeah, thank you to James for that. But I won't take up too much more of your time, guys, because I know that we're getting into the evening now.